Heyo and welcome back to New World. In today's video I have the fastest ways to level up your engineering as quickly as possible. It can take forever and waste a bunch of resources if you don't know what you're doing, but I've leveled engineering up over 100 twice now in the beta and the actual game, and there is 5 recipes I would recommend that use a bunch of different resources you can get going through the regular game, or just mix up your farming essentially to get your engineering up as quickly as possible so you can get your best tools, your best weapons from your engineering skills. If you guys haven't leveled your engineering before that much, you can get it via the forge as well as the workshop, but the different things that you make give you different levels of engineering points, and it is not level with the amount of resources you spend at all. So these are the ones I'd recommend. Straight off the bat, if you guys are very low level, I would recommend Gunpowder being the first one. Charcoal, very easy, it's just burnt down wood. You can get that literally everywhere. Flint is pretty much everywhere in the game. If you want huge quantities of it, go to a river on the edge or in the river, there's heaps of it. Saltpeter is going to be your main throttle for this recipe, but you can find it in a lot of different places like caves or mine areas. You can find a bunch of it because per like pile of it, you get a fair bit, and you get 96 engineering per thing you make, which is a decent amount, particularly from the start. From there, you can use your huge amount of gunpowder you just made to make iron rounds if you guys want. I personally didn't use this because linen was pretty hard to get at the start of the server. Everyone was going for fiber. It was pretty hard to get your hands on. But if you have a lot, this is a good second option. 72 engineering per shot, but does also use 4 iron ingots per thing. Iron arrows was actually the one that I went for. It was the same amount of iron. Timber is way easier to get, and feathers I personally get a high quantity of all the time because I'm always hunting turkeys for town board quests, and I'm always harvesting them for the skinning level. So if you have feathers, wood's pretty easy to get, and you already had iron, you can use that to level up, which gives you 108 engineering per shot, which is a little bit higher as well. Now, other ones in the workshop, personally, I don't craft more tools that I need unless I intend on selling them, because for example, I was getting 108 engineering per 4 ingots. If you make an iron axe, you have to use 12 and you only get 204, so it's not really an equal amount per iron spent or resources spent to your engineering level for tools. I'd only bother making these for yourselves or your friends unless you're trying to sell them. It's not worth just making these for the sake of leveling up your engineering skill. Another one that's pretty solid for the early game is the wooden bow. It doesn't require any iron, which is really good, particularly for my server in the early days. It's really difficult to get my hands on a ton of iron, so if you guys are struggling to get iron on your server as well, if you have timber, coarse leather, and linen, it is 204 engineering per shot, which is actually a pretty decent amount for an early game item. Now, personally, I didn't actually make this one myself, but if you guys have emotes and soul motes in huge quantities, you can make weak proficiency boosters from level 20 in engineering, and it's actually a useful item to have. Where the rest of the stuff you usually salvage for the scrap parts, or you try and sell for extremely cheap, a very low amount of coins, this one you can actually use. It's a booster to the amount of stuff you gather from your tools by 5% for 10 minutes, and the common one at level 70 is 7% for 15 minutes. So it's actually a useful thing that you can actually use and level up your engineering at the same time, while the other stuff's kind of just going to waste. Now, the final 1 or 2 recipes are the main way I got to engineering over 100 both times, and will be the way I get to 200 eventually. Those are spears. They scale in engineering for some reason. I thought that'd be weaponsmithing, but alas, here we are. It requires 5 timber, 5 iron, and 2 coarse leather for the iron one, and gives you 204 engineering, which is pretty solid and how I got up to level 50. But from 50, you can make steel spears, which looks pretty expensive from the start. 11 lumber, 5 steel, and 2 rugged leather. Steel is 3 iron ingots per 1 steel ingot, and then rugged leather is what, 4 coarse leather into 1 rugged, so that's pretty expensive, and it gives you 540 engineering. But if you guys didn't know, click on steel and just choose iron, and it uses 5 iron ingots rather than 5 steel ingots. Definitely don't choose star metal or void metal, that's a terrible idea. 5 iron ingots, which is 3 times cheaper, doesn't require the flux to make the steel, and then instead of rugged leather, just choose coarse leather. Fortunately, you can't do the same with lumber. You do have to put in a little bit of extra effort to make the lumber, but those two are way cheaper and still gives you 540 engineering. And the best part about it, once you make a steel spear out of iron, you can scrap it and it gives you back steel. For some reason, I don't really know why, but you can literally do that all the way through your levels. For example, once you get to level 100 in engineering, you can make star metal spears, not out of 5 star metal ingots, out of 5 iron ingots, and not 2 rugged leather, 2 coarse leather. Unfortunately, you still need the Wurwood planks, which is the most expensive item for this recipe. It does require 100 in logging, I believe, but if you get that, you can get 1400 engineering per spear using the same amount of iron and the same amount of coarse leather that you were at level 0 engineering to make iron spears, and you can get that all the way through to 200 engineering. And that's all you need pretty much to get to 100 or 200 engineering to get all the best tools and all the best weapons that you guys want. Hope you guys found the video helpful. If you did, don't forget to smash subscribe on the way out. Feel free to click the like button. Feel free to check us out over on Twitch. We live stream over there every night. It's linked down below. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll catch you guys in the next video and a live stream. Till then, adios.